Welcome, everyone, to Talking Textiles. I'm Tom Auer of Bierce USA. I'm your host of today's discussion, and thank you to everyone for listening in on today's episode. The goal of this podcast is to get to know the wide variety of positions and markets that make the advanced textile world turn. We will be talking to professionals in different roles throughout the series to help inspire the next generation of textile professionals and anyone interested in learning about others' journey in the world of textiles. ATA offers advanced textiles content throughout the year, including the upcoming Advanced Textile Expo show being held November 1st through the 3rd in Orlando, Florida. You can visit textiles.org/events to learn more. On today's episode, our guests are Mar Ricketts of GuildWorks, Karina Bransford of Boatswain's Locker, and Robin DuBroy of Wholesale Shade. They'll share about the demo area being featured on the show floor at the Advanced Textiles Expo. And now let's talk textiles. Hi, I'm Tom Auer, and this is Talking Textiles. Today, we're speaking with Mar Ricketts, Karina Bransford, and Robin DuBroy. Welcome to the podcast. Over the past 2 years, ATA leadership and staff have been working hard to establish a demo area on the show floor at our flagship trade show. This will be our third consecutive year hosting the demo area, and this year we're really excited to bring in some new contributors and diversifying the knowledge we are offering to end product fabricators who will be attending the show. They all bring a wealth of expertise, and we're lucky enough to get a preview of that during our podcast today. Robin, can you tell me about your responsibilities at Wholesale Shade?
Yes. So Wholesale Shade manufactures custom shade sales. We've been doing it since 2011, and I am a director of operations there.
Karina, can you tell us about your company and your responsibilities there?
Yes, we are the Boatswain's Locker, and we actually do custom marine canvas and factory marine canvas, and I am the general manager.
And Mar, about your company and your responsibilities there?
I'm the founder and principal of GuildWorks. We're a design build firm building tension fabric structures.
So let me just start off with a general question to our three guests about the Expo show. As an end product manufacturer, what do you find most valuable from attending the Expo show? Robin, I'll let you start.
Sure. There's so much value to be had at the Expo, so many different things. But one of the best things for us that came out of an Expo a couple of years ago was we got a demo of a Carlson plotter cutting machine, a CNC cutting machine. And we were actually able to talk with Thomas Carlson and really get a good explanation of the machine and how it can help us. And so we did end up making that purchase, and we purchased the machine, and it absolutely revolutionized what we do in the warehouse, and it sped up production, and it allowed us to grow and hire more people. So by far and away, that was sort of the best thing to come out of the Expo floor, is that being able to get hands-on experience with that cutting machine right there on the show floor.
That's great. Karina?
Basically, we went there, and that's where we actually got our Eastman cutter, which actually allowed us to, produce and, cut our canvas and everything. So that was very much a big part of going to that show. The other thing I would say is getting together with other people in our industry from, different regions besides just in the South. That helped out a lot, getting with them and, what new materials are out there. And that's a constant. So that helped us out greatly going to that show.
I completely agree with both of those perspectives. I mean, equipment, small parts that you might use, the materials coming out, all of those things. It's great to walk the show floor because while we have a pretty niche industry, there's still a lot of diversity of suppliers and equipment within that. And then the diversity of the the fabricators and just all the different people in the industry, those conversations, what other people are doing. So you're not feeling like you're working alone in an island, because often you don't know another business in your area that's doing anything, they're very spread out, but this is one place where everyone's together. And I think those perspectives are so valuable for learning how to run a business.
Absolutely. I completely agree with all of those points. So with the demo booth, we are having a focus on hands-on education. So I'm just curious if you could respond with, how have you found hands-on education in the past, and how has it helped your business?
I feel like it hasn't been super easy to find hands-on education in this industry. But the first thing that comes to mind is the expo, whether it's the demo booth or just a regular vendor booth, as they bring materials, they bring tools and assets, and we get that hands-on training there. But being on the lookout for how can we incorporate some hands-on training, especially post-COVID. Everything moved online for a time, so trying to find things that are back in person is always a challenge. We do offer training as part of what we do, and we make sure it's hands-on, because that hands-on piece is so important.
I think it's a fantastic point that you make, Robin. I mean, the point that it's hard to find, I think, is universal across the industry, and really a big part of the genesis of our thoughts about putting together the demo booth. Karina, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I honestly feel that between doing the regional, meetings, that's huge, because then that way you all get together and talk about that. The other thing that we've done too, and my father will say this because he's been doing this since 1970, is basically getting and looking at what people have done and actually kind of learning what they've done and to make your product better. And it's kind of like a hands-on, almost like a visual learning type thing, and taking it apart and putting it back together. I mean, we've done that as well. So I think like these regional shows are important, but I think that this show for sure is important, because that way you get a lot more people and their ideas together, which helps, with that as well. And we do hands-on training as well, because you have to. There's really no school to go to for this. The only one that I know of is down south. And I honestly am not even sure if it's available still, but these shows are important for that.
Completely agree again. And there's really nothing as far as my niche of fabric structures. I mean, even the book knowledge is pretty limited that's out there. And I think, and this is talking about physically making something, and the only way to learn is to touch it, to try it, to see how it works and goes together. And I hope this demo area is a great evolution of that this year. I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, so absolutely. And just in terms of like the value of the show and what we're trying to do to teach industry, I mean, can you speak to like how important it is to offer hands-on education to our industry at the expo show, and speak to how difficult it has been to find education in the past?
In my experience, having a hands-on learning component is what really makes things stick for the learner. We all have a variety of ways in which we can learn. We have visual strengths, we have auditory strengths, but that tactile hands-on combines all of those together and gives you a really more complete understanding of the process and the subject. And so it is one of the best ways to learn. It's not the only way, but it's one of the best. And to be able to access it at the expo, to be able to find out that training and send a team somewhere so they can bring that knowledge back is so valuable. It's the best way to learn.
Karina, do you want to add to that?
Yes, definitely. I really think that in doing this demo area and the way that we're going to be presenting this, and hopefully everybody kind of agrees with me, is that way we can, actually show people other, besides just basic applications, actually show them like new tools and new applications that we've learned about, and we can share, and things to make their life easier. So I think that, And this year with this demo area, I think it's going to expand upon things that people aren't just their basic, sewing type applications and things that they're doing. I think it'll expand on here's something new, here's something different that we learned that we want to share with you.
And I'm focusing on, there's a lot of growth of interest in tension structures. I think Robin sees that with shade and is trying to hit the same thing. So how do we teach and give that hands-on experience to people who are getting opportunities within this marketplace, but don't have the background and the way to learn? I think it's a big question. And it's always one, even within our business, we're always trying to, like, how do we teach more people who are our own staff, how to build and learn and try different things and cross-train to understand the full scope. And I think the demo area has that potential to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, so let's get down to some of the specifics then of the upcoming show in November. So there is going to be dedicated space on the show floor itself, where we're going to have these opportunities for people to come in and to see hands-on demonstrations, which will include presentations by the three of you, and we're very appreciative of that. But I just wanted to touch on that. Like, how would you describe what's going on in the demo space this year, and what should attendees expect to see during your specific sessions?
So for my demo booth, we have participated in the expo for the last 5 years doing campfires and educational sessions, talking about shade sails and how to install them and how to add them to your business and all kinds of stuff. And in that, what I was saying earlier about how important it is to have that hands-on component, that's why we decided to do something a little different this year and do a demo booth. And so our booth is going to focus on how to properly tension a shade sail corner and what tools you use. And of course, we got to make it fun and interesting. So we are going to host a competition and see who can be the fastest shade sail installer in the East. So we've got a fun little setup ready to go. You're actually going to get hands-on tools, tension a turnbuckle, tighten down the cable. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. And I will certainly be in attendance to watch that. That's very exciting. Karina?
Us, on the other hand, we're actually going to be bringing tools that we use on certain enclosures and cutters and things like that. We'll have samples there for people to actually take with them and everything. And we're actually going to show them how we use like our folders for basically like our facings and how to finish those and things like that. So really good question answer, things that we weren't able to totally elaborate on at our regional. So we're hoping that this will help, teach people, and they'll be able to take things with them and be able to see exactly how we do those. So we think that'll be, very educational and informative for them.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Mar?
Yeah, we're going to take people through what is the process of fabric structures. So start with a little bit of design engineering background, look at an engineering model for a fabric structure that we'll end up building right there on the show floor. And what are the different parts? I mean, we have all the suppliers of equipment there, from cutting to high frequency welding, and plan to go through those processes and assemble a piece, and much like Robin is, tension it up right there as well. So a bit of a process to put through a whole story of a mini fabric structure. So
that's fantastic. And I just want to say from the ATA perspective, there's really been a focus on trying to make the expo show more valuable to end product fabricators. And what you're putting forth this year is going to be a fantastic addition to that, and allow us to diversify the knowledge that we're providing across a whole spectrum of industries. We've tried in the first couple of years and we've had some good success, but there's so many different industries represented under the umbrella of ATA that what you guys are bringing forward this year really, really makes this show exciting to me, and I'm really looking forward to that. One other feature that we're going to be including on the demo show is a special session on tools that are used within shops of fabricators across industries. My company is going to be participating in that, and I know that your companies will be as well. And I just was hoping you could touch on or give a preview of what you'll be presenting, or speak to, what your favorite tool is on a daily basis that we can show fabricators.
Our favorite tool is one I've already mentioned. It's our CNC cutting machine. It's the cutting table. Like I said, it just increased production so much for us and made such a huge difference. So certainly that is one of the tools we'll be talking about. But we're also we're bringing in new tools all the time. For example, we are going to be introducing a new triax system, and which is coming out of Australia. It will allow us to do some really awesome things. And we brought in a new bender, a metal bender for that, so we can have curved pieces for that new system. It's a shade system. So yeah, we're always looking to bring in new things, and right now those are the two exciting ones:
Excellent.
the cutting table, and the bender.
Karina?
Actually, the Eastman cutter, even though we can't bring that with us, but that is
Okay.
probably one of the tools we use on a
Right.
daily basis. So, so that's a great tool. And then we also have like a polycarb battery operated cutter that we use for all of our polycarbs to do in our boat enclosures. So we'll be bringing that with us to show people how that works. And then we actually have some smaller tools that people really wouldn't think about that are kind of simple, that you can use in like, the boat industry, as far as like making some of the canvas with that. That's something simple will make life a little bit easier. And we're going to be bringing the pre-folder bender that goes on the sewing machine to show people, how those facings work and basically where they could order those as well. So that's something we're excited about showing.
That's fantastic. Mar, you dropped out of there for a second, but you're back with us, and we're talking about your favorite tool that you use on a daily basis. If you could add your perspective.
Well, there's really so many. I mean, me personally, I do a lot more of running the design department. So looking at the engineering software and the patterning and how that ends up coming out to the cutting machine, how that ends up coming out to the fabrication as they weld things together, and what's the data on the tension loads and stuff that have to go to the field. And then on the field, they're measuring those with tension devices to see where we're at to get proper tension. So all the way along, there's a layer of specific tools that go through the whole thing, and every single one of them makes the job possible.
This is really like amazing information and knowledge that you guys are willing to share at the show this year. And I do want to extend kudos to you for being willing to participate in something like this. Unfortunately, in our industry, sometimes people think they need to grasp on and hold inside knowledge tight. But I really think in the bigger picture, when you think about it, when we offer our expertise and knowledge to others, I mean, it's really in our interest for our companies and for our professional lives to have a robust and healthy industry. And the fact that fabricators struggle to find information, well, you may think today, well, that's going to protect my business and they're only going to come to me. In the end, when you need to be purchasing equipment and materials and textiles and tools, et cetera, across the board, without a robust industry, that supply chain that is there for us on a daily basis starts to struggle, and our businesses will in turn struggle. So this is really an important piece. And I'm really excited to give people a taste of what they're going to find out at the show, and really encourage fabricators to attend the show this year. And so just to wrap up, sort of an open-ended question, but I would just throw out, when speaking to an end product fabricator, I mean, why would you recommend the Expo show? And even beyond just the demo booth that we're doing together this year, but maybe share some of the things you've learned in the past or why you think it's important for fabricators in general to attend.
There's so much to learn and see and do at the expo. We're just walking the show floor, seeing new products, learning about those new products, those demos, whether you're at a booth or at an actual demo presentation or a campfire or there's so much learning that happens and the education sessions. But for me, the best part of the expo is the connections, the face-to-face meetings of your vendors or your suppliers or other people in the industry. I think I got to meet Mar last year for the first time, even though we've talked on the phone several times. But that in-person, face-to-face connection is so great. Like you're saying, so a lot of times in this niche industry, we feel like we're in little silos and we don't get to talk to other people outside. And this is an opportunity for nationwide people to get together and learn and grow and meet. And it's great.
Thank you, Robin. Karina?
Yeah, I honestly have not been to one in a long time. I usually send my father, Bill Bransford, to them because he's the one that wants all the knowledge on equipment and all of this, and he's the one that knows what to get. I'm honestly going this year because I think that there's a lack of, especially in the marine industry, not just, and for regionals, it's great. But I think, on going to this show and speaking even with awning people and with car people and getting their knowledge as well on things that they use, I just think it's a huge benefit to go to this and hopefully expand upon the part of being able to meet more people, not just in your region, but outside of your region, and get to know what they do and what they found out. And also, look at all the new materials and equipment that's coming out. And I think it's just an important thing that, I'm excited to, actually come back and see.
It's a great point. And it's a very interesting point in that sort of across our industry, we have this generational challenge of sharing knowledge and bringing forward the next generation of people who support this industry. There's many companies across ATA that have flourished under the leadership of some long-term, in some cases, family companies. And it's really important for us to bring up the next generation. So it's great to hear that you'll be attending the show this year. Mar?
Well, it totally changed my business starting to go to the show and, both meeting people, learning more about what they're doing and, getting products and tools. I just can't say enough about the value of it for each industry and, working with specialty tools and specialty equipment, specialty materials. It's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great point. Whether you attend a show on a yearly basis like I do, or you haven't been in a while, I think there's really a lot of knowledge to be gained, even for the folks who have been there year after year after year. I always say when I go to trade shows that there's always a couple nuggets of knowledge that you may not have expected to learn. And maybe it's just industry information, or maybe it's specific hands-on knowledge. There's always seems to be a couple pieces of nuggets where you're like, I'm so grateful that I attended and made the effort. I know it's very difficult for all of us to break away from our day-to-day responsibilities, but here's a great opportunity, and ATA is stepping up and offering the demo booth this year, which I think is going to add huge value for fabricators to attend. So thank you for your part in the demo booth this year. We're really looking forward to it, and I hope to see you in Orlando soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of ATA Talking Textiles. ATA is a not-for-profit association representing the international specialty fabrics marketplace. Learn more about events, workshops, and webinars that ATA hosts throughout the year at textiles.org/events.